Welcome to Focus Day. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I have a studio full of guests today, which isn't often for me to do, but I'm always glad when it happens. And so I have a couple of local friends that decided to get up early and bear through the cold to get here. First one is Rob Schlapfer. He's the creator and director of the Oregon Education Project, and then Russ Kautz. He's the leader of the Mountain Church Community Impact Team and the local affiliate of the Parents' Rights in Education. Wow, that's a mouthful for you. Thanks, guys, for coming in. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you. Well, Russ, let's start with you. Why is your church getting involved in this? Well, tell us what this outreach is all about.
Okay. We started the Community Impact Team back in March of last year. It's a pattern after Jack Hibbs's church. They have a real impact program where they encourage their congregations to get involved in voting, make sure to register to vote, and they collect ballots, and we did that as well at Mountain Church. So we did voter registration booth, we collected ballots, and we hand-delivered them to the county clerk's office. And this is the second part of the outreach is to take over the school boards with Christians who have a biblical worldview.
Wow.
And so that's what this is going into. And Rob and I met because he has the same mission to take over the school boards in order to combat or do a counter-offenses against woke education. So
wow.
We joined up in a partnership, and we're going to battle this together because we want the parents to be in control of their child's education.
This is wonderful.
And the only way to do that is through the school board.
I couldn't agree more. This is wonderful. So, Rob, tell us a little about Oregon Education Project.
Well, I know your program. I've seen a couple of episodes on your program where people have been talking about Marxism in the local schools. And yeah, I've been working for several years bridging the partisan divide in Oregon, doing talks. I'm a retired social science educator. And in the midst of talking to Democrats and Republicans and trying to get them to work out the politics, I've discovered that the Oregon Department of Education really is doubling down on critical race theory in our schools, particularly with the new social science standards that are coming out that are now being implemented. And the transformational social and emotional learning. You were talking about the problem of teens and emotions today. Well, now all of that, getting mixed into all of that, is a very Marxist-oriented view, trying to create critical consciousness in the context of social and emotional learning. And that's what transformational SEL is. So, yeah, we've joined together. We think we need to create a collaborative network around Oregon, particularly in Southern Oregon, to resist this, to balance it, to replace the most egregious elements, but mostly to get parents, to get churches, to get community members involved, to resist the Marxification of education.
Gosh, this is wonderful. All right, so a couple things. Wow, where do I start? The first question I have, let's say you get a school board full of the right people. Does the local school board have authority to resist this stuff?
Well, we did a deep dive into the Oregon administrative rules and the Oregon statutes. And I've also got a great contact at the Oregon Department of Education, in fact, the fellow who oversees the curriculum implementation. And we believe local school boards can, in fact, do a lot if they will stand up and have some spine and decide to do the right thing. And we're going to be laying out, along with Russ and his team, we're going to be laying out exactly what school boards can do, and not just asking people to vote for conservative school board members. We need conservative school board members that will stand up against the pressure that comes at them from the State School Board Association, which is very woke, and especially the ODE. Again, lots of threats and what have you to try and get them to step in line. What we need are independent-minded, principled people on school boards who are willing to take flack.
All right, so what I'm hearing you say is that, yes, you can resist this. It's a matter of fighting the intimidation.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so back to you, Russ. Why is Mountain Church, what are you offering for the public here to do? I know you got some town hall meetings. Explain what your agenda is.
Well, the first two of the town halls, the February 7th and March 7th, are going to be educational. We're going to teach families and parents what the role of a school board is.
Great.
And since, God ordained 3 institutions, one of which is civil governance.
Yeah.
And the school board is the first level of civil governance that we impact. School board members are elected. They're supposed to represent their constituents, which are parents and their families and taxpayers. So,
come to these. So you're going to have the. Excuse me, but you're going to have the town hall meetings there at the church. They're from 6 to 7:30, right?
Correct.
So the first one is February 7th. Well, that's just a week or so away, and then a month later in March 7th.
Correct.
This is absolutely critical. This is wonderful, and thanks for doing it. This is sticking your neck out there.
Well, I have a legacy I want to uphold. My dad was in the school system for 33 years at the high school. He taught math and science, was dean of boys, was assistant principal for a little while, and back to assistant principal. And he would not be happy with the way things are going now.
So, Rob, how did this wonderful profession get hijacked?
Well, I've just released today a piece called Woke Education, and in that I lay out exactly how the process took place. Really what happened was back in the 1960s, ask yourself, those of us who were our age, we remember all the radicals out in the streets. Well, what happened to them? Well, they all went into the education system. And what we've seen in the last 30, 40 years is what people call the march through the institutions, where we've seen a lot of Marxist influence. And I've been teaching about critical theory for quite a while. In fact, I was teaching about the problem of woke education almost a decade ago here in the Valley. It's only been in the last 4 or 5 years, I think, people have become aware of its influence. And importantly, it's not in every school in Oregon. The Oregon Department of Education, as I lay out in the various things that we're going to be publishing, is completely absorbed in woke education with this kind of Marxist-oriented framing. But that doesn't mean that every school is going along with it. For example, here in Medford, I think there's been a good bit of resistance to it. What we feel is that we need to push back and resist at the local level, because there's a lot of pressure coming in for schools to adopt it. And again, the curriculum standards, which are completely framed with this stuff, they're required. So it's going to take at the local level people getting involved who know what's going on to hold local school districts accountable. And again, that's what we hope to do by building a collaborative network. And the other thing I would say, and this is really important, we really in Oregon have to go after disillusioned Democrats. There are a lot of Democrats out there who don't like all this woke stuff. They realize that it is undermining the relationships of kids in schools. I think we have to really go after them and bring them into the coalition. Simply because there's not enough numbers on the conservative side to really do much about it, certainly at the legislative level.
So what would be the benefit of somebody, I'll say a Democrat, who doesn't like it to cross over and work with you? I would assume that the pressure, intimidation from their friends would be pretty intense, let alone the school system.
It's gotten better, though. Again, President Trump was able to build a coalition with a lot of Democrats and people like Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk famously said the woke mind virus will destroy civilization. That resonates with a lot of people outside of conservatism. And I feel like we need to tap into that right now at this moment when there is so much pushback on DEI efforts and there is more knowledge coming out about what's actually going into the schools.
That's wonderful. So Russ, this is a big deal. And I want to say to you and Pastor Jim, thank you for having the understanding that this is an opportunity for the faith community to get involved instead of being on the sidelines complaining about it. This is feet in the water stuff. But to your father's legacy, do you have any idea where in the process that the three, if I can use the term, 3 R's got replaced with wokeness? Do you have any idea where that happened?
I don't know when that happened. I'm sure it was incremental.
Yeah. Because that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And doesn't our education graduation scores and testing prove that we're on the wrong track?
Well, and that's one of the overarching issue is the fact that Oregon, almost 60% of Oregon schools students fail proficiency tests in English. Almost 70% fail proficiency tests in math, and over 70% fail proficiency tests in science. And I would say that because the Oregon Department of Education is so focused on this stuff, I've attended 30 hours of state school board meetings. I've heard about 20 minutes dedicated to the problem of failing test scores, and that was only because the director of the ODE was having to give a report about the failing scores. And when you listen to her give the report, it's kind of like, we're going to do better. There's no strategy there, and that's because I would say the energy is all going into promoting woke education. We have to turn that around, and in my mind, that we get rid of that stuff, then we have an opportunity to look at what we can do to change student proficiency.
So, Russ, what's the church? Which is your church? And hopefully it'll be all over the faith community. What's your vision for them to catch on this? What do you want them to do?
I want parents to get involved.
Yeah.
Come to school board meetings.
Yeah.
Learn what's going on in the schools.
Okay.
And part of our town hall meeting will be a question and answer period. I've invited 2 current school board directors from Eagle Point, Medford, Central Point, Phoenix Talent, and Ashland to be on the panel to answer questions of the audience.
Are they willing to come?
I've had 3 responses so far.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Let me reiterate before I run out of time here. Mountain Church right here in Medford is going to, thank you again. This is very visionary. February 7th, and March 7th, they're going to have town hall meetings. Rob will be there, Russ will be there, hopefully some school board members will be there. Q&A, but primarily these 2 are to educate people on what this battle is really all about.
Yeah, and one of the things we would love your audience to do is, if you can, if you're in the Medford area, come out Thursday. We're asking parents and community members to show up Thursday. We have an action alert. Come and show your support. A number of us are going to be speaking to the school board and kind of laying out a vision for what we want to see happen. And certainly, if you can't make it out, please pray. Take that time to pray for us that we're able to generate some interest in the school boards to get them to come to the town halls.
Has Oregon adopted where they have to video record these now to be viewed by anybody later?
Yes.
I believe, yeah.
They're all recorded.
They're all recorded?
Yes.
Are they live or just recorded, do you know?
I think Medford does it live.
Does it? So
yeah.
you can join virtually, I guess.
Yeah, because you can join virtually to make comments if you want, for example. Okay,
so a couple of things here. Mark down this Thursday, January 23rd. If you're here in the immediate area, it's going to be at Oakdale Middle School at 5:30, a school board meeting. Rob and Russ will be there and others, so you can listen to that exchange. And then I would really say for parents, well, I can't, and the other thing is, I think parents are really, really thankful and anxious for this information. It's kind of been over here in a room that they've been on the outside trying to look in, and you guys are bringing it out in the open. That's a critical thing.
Well, and the other thing is, in addition to the town halls the church are doing, I'm going to be doing the next day, February 8th, and then the next day, the Saturday after each town hall, I'm going to be doing a more educational community talk. We'll have some guests, but for example, on the 8th, I'm going to be following up the 7th town hall, doing a talk on woke education. What is woke education? Exactly, spelling out what it is. I put together a 20-page investigation that shows exactly how the 2017 legislation to include ethnic studies got hijacked by social justice activist educators, and that's really how we got woke education into the schools. So again, it'll be a lot of information that will hopefully answer people's questions.
I got one other question. Throw it out. You both can weigh in. There are a lot of the profession of education, school teachers, administrators. There's a lot of them don't want this. They're trapped.
Yep.
How trapped are they? You know?
Well, I've talked to a lot of them, and
Yeah.
in fact, I've talked off the record with some local superintendents, and one of whom told me that he thinks the time is ripe to resist this stuff because teachers are busy. They are burdened with trying to do the basics. They're burdened by all kinds of demands coming down from the Oregon Department of Education. The idea that we need to be telling 3-year-olds that they need to think about their identity, that's a very crazy, abstract kind of concept, that they need to think about systemic oppression, 7-year-olds. Teachers are like, we don't have time for this. It's not helping. It's actually undermining our ability to create success in our schools.
So a lot of teachers don't want it.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing you do, both of you, is you're pinpointing this down, and this is so critical. So parents, a couple of days, I wish I had you guys for more time, but mark this down. First of all, February 7th and March 7th will be a town hall meeting right here at Mountain Church in downtown Medford from 6 to 7:30, where you're going to be educated. If you're available, this coming Thursday will be the local area school board at Oakdale Middle School, where you can go and listen. Rob's going to be there talking, Russ, others and others. So this is terrific. Thank you. I'd love to follow up with you guys, see how it goes. I'd like to know what the response is. I think a lot of parents are saying, boy, we just need to know. And then we need to know what to do and what we can do. It's one thing being educated on the problem, and I think we all know there's a problem. We just don't know how to attack it.
Right. We need action.
Yeah.
And again, we're creating a collaborative action network. No more talking. It's time to get off the couch. It's time to get away from the podcast and actually do something that can impact your local schools.
And to both your point, pray. Pray for Russ, pray for Rob, pray for what they're doing, pray for these town hall meetings. The door is opening. This is our opportunity. Gentlemen, thank you. I wish I had you more time. Thanks for what you're doing. Again, to you, Russ, and Jim over there, thank you. Your vision, this is terrific. Rob, stay in the fight, buddy. We need you. Okay, we'll be right back.